Good evening and welcome back to Etown News. I'm Gabriella Schill.
And I'm Gabbie Hansen. OSA Paint and Sip, Echoes Benefit Concert, and more coming up after this.
Elizabethtown College has their own student-run radio station here in Steinman. Students in any year can join to be a DJ and there's no prior experience needed. We have many great DJs for this semester. To listen to our DJs, tune in on the radio or use the TuneIn app to listen to WWEC 88.3, The Sound of Elizabethtown.
Come out to support the Tempest Theater's fall mainstage production. This weekend and next, the Tempest Theater will put on Empowered, How One Girl Scout Nearly Destroyed the World's Economy. Empowered tells the story of a Girl Scout who will do whatever it takes to win her troop's cookie selling contest. Students, faculty, and alumni can purchase discounted tickets for $8 at the door or online. General admission tickets cost $10. Evening showings will be performed at 7 p.m. this Friday and Saturday. An afternoon show will start at 3 p.m. on Sunday. The cast will take the stage at the same time next weekend as well. To purchase tickets or to get more information on other productions, visit @Etown Theater Clubs on Instagram.
Looking for something to do after the Halloween events are over? Stop by Paint and Sip on Saturday. OSA is offering 2 sessions from 7 to 9 or 9 to 11 on Saturday night. Students can paint a canvas during one session or choose to paint a unique item during the other. Whether it's mini pumpkins, CDs, vinyl records, or palm rocks, let your creativity flow. Free snacks and non-alcoholic beverages will be available the whole time. Blue Jays 21 Plus can bring their ID for a free alcoholic beverage as well. To sign up for the Paint and Sip or to keep up with OSA, follow @EtownOSA on Instagram.
As housing instability rises in Lancaster County, one nonprofit is teaming up with Etown to help out. The Elizabethtown Community Housing and Outreach Services is hosting a concert this Saturday to raise money for the homeless. It includes solo performances from many Blue Jays along with a cappella groups Melika and Vocaline. It begins at 3 in the Cave. Tickets are $5. You can purchase them using the QR code below or pay cash or student charge at the entrance.
With all the networking opportunities Elizabethtown College offers, it's important to know the proper etiquette. You can practice these skills next week while enjoying food and drinks. Mocktails and Mingle is taking place in the Cave from 5 to 7 p.m. next Tuesday. Clark Associates is sponsoring the event to help Blue Jays learn how to professionally network. Local professionals will provide tips about approaching and following up when meeting someone new. There will of course be mocktails and hors d'oeuvres to practice balancing conversation with food and drink. There are only a few spots left. Sign up on Handshake before space runs out. Now here's Ava Deeter with your weekly sports update.
Thanks, Gabbie. Men and women's swim team competed in a tri-meet against Goucher and Immaculata last Friday. It was a successful day for both teams, going undefeated against both schools. On the women's side, Kaylee Blair, Emma Sabalaske, Haley Poulos, and Katarina Lind placed first in the 200 medley relay. Blair finished first in the 50-meter backstroke, followed by Emma Paul in second. Poulos also won the 100 fly. Sabalaske took first in the 100 breaststroke, just in front of Katie Medora, who finished second. These high-placing finishes helped the women beat Goucher 171-49 and Immaculata 148-99. The men's team dominated as well, taking home a pair of wins. Michael Tittermary, Garen McKenzie, Marco Niosi, and Austin Smith won the 200 medley for the Blue Jays. Tittermary also won the 50 free, followed by 3 other E-Town swimmers. Baron Bishop took gold in the 50 breaststroke, as did Leif Huffman in the 1,000 free. Both teams hope to continue their winning streaks on Saturday when they travel to Lebanon Valley. It was an impressive outing for men's golf at the Lehigh Valley Invitational last Monday. The team placed third out of 19 teams with a score of 325. Drew Bird was the top Blue Jay, tying for 14th place individually. Paul Fulfer was right behind in 17th, followed by John Harrison in 26th. This was their final match of the season before the Landmark Championships, which will take place next April. It was a less successful outing for women's volleyball in their tri-match against Scranton and Virginia Wesleyan. In their first game against Scranton, the Blue Jays were swept 3-0. Lucy Stanek had a time high of 11 kills and 10 digs. Angela Ouimet had 17 assists. They had a similar fate their second game, getting swept again by Virginia Wesleyan. Bailey McFeeters led the team this time with 8 kills, while Stanek had 7. This is their 7th loss out of the last 8 games, putting the team at 14-3 on the season. They hope to get things back on track this Friday when they host Catholic University at 7 p.m. in the Thompson Gymnasium. Field hockey picked up the win on senior night, beating Goucher 3-2. Drew Bridges scored the first 2 goals for the Blue Jays before Haley Meyer put the nail in the coffin with 3 minutes left in the game. Hannah Long assisted on 2 of the goals. The team is currently 8-9 after winning 4 straight games. They hope to carry that momentum into the playoffs, which begin November 1st. The struggles continued for men's soccer as they fell to Moravian 5-0 on Tuesday. The Greyhounds got off to an early start, going up 3-0 before the half and added 2 more goals later on. It's a rough way to end a rough season for the Blue Jays as they end with a 3-14-4 record and 9th place in the Landmark Conference. Skylar Mumford had the lone goal in the women's soccer game against Moravian, but it was enough for Etown to beat the Greyhounds and clinch a playoff spot. Ella Smith preserved the shutout in goal with 2 saves on the night. They end the season with a 7-5-5 record as they prepare for their first-round playoff match against Susquehanna on November 1st. Week 8 of the NFL season saw rivalries reignited, crazy comebacks, and everything in between. The New York Jets won their first game of the season, beating the Cincinnati Bengals 39-38 after trailing by double digits for most of the game. The Buffalo Bills looked back to their usual form, beating the Panthers 40-9. Despite Lamar Jackson still being injured, the Baltimore Ravens beat the Chicago Bears with ease, 30-16. Although it's only his second year, critics are wondering if Caleb Williams is shaping up to be another first overall bust. Sunday Night Football saw the legendary Aaron Rodgers and his Steelers going up against his old team, the Green Bay Packers. Despite a lackluster first half, the Packers turned it around to beat their former quarterback and his new team 35-25. This week concluded with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs taking care of business, beating the Washington Commanders 28-7. That's all for sports. Now over to Erik Rodriguez Jr. with weather.
Thanks, Ava. The chilly weather continues this week as we inch closer and closer to winter. Partly cloudy weather and slight chances of rain for gloomy weather fitting for the Halloween season. Today, the 30th, calls for rainy weather for most of the day. Expect a high of 58 and a low of 46. Trick-or-treaters should keep umbrellas handy as Halloween also calls for midday showers with a high of 56 and a low of 43. November will begin with the sun attempting to make an appearance. Expect partly cloudy weather and a high of 58 and a nearly freezing low of 39. Sunday will also be partly cloudy with a high of 58 and a low of 41. The rainy weather will continue on Monday as a temperature drop to a high of 53 and a low of 39. Tuesday will be partly cloudy with a high of 55 and a chilly low of 37. And finally, Wednesday calls for partly cloudy weather and nearly freezing early morning temperatures. Expect a high of 54 and a low of 36. That's it for this week's Weather Watch. I'm Erik Rodriguez Jr. Now back to Gabriella and Gabbie in the studio.
Documents released this week shed light on the moment a child fell overboard on a Disney cruise. In late June, a 5-year-old girl fell 49 feet from the Disney Dream cruise ship into international waters. The child's father jumped overboard in an attempt to rescue her. The two were later rescued by a tender launched by the ship. A newly released incident report states the child's mother had instructed her to pose for a photo next to an open porthole. The child climbed a railing next to the porthole and lost balance, falling into the ocean. The mother told investigators that she believed that there was a protective glass barrier separating the railing from the ocean. The Florida State Attorney's Office deemed the mother's action neglect, but did not press charges. An unnamed donor is giving the Pentagon $130 million to help pay U.S. troops amid the government shutdown. U.S. defense officials confirmed the gift last Saturday. The donation will make up for shortfalls in paying the country's nearly 2 million service members. President Donald Trump declined to identify the donor, but revealed that he is a U.S. citizen and a supporter of his. President Trump said that the donor preferred to remain anonymous, saying that he does not want the recognition. The donation is set to be made sometime this week. The ongoing government shutdown is about to enter its 4th week and is set to be one of the longest in U.S. history. Arrests have been made in the case of the Louvre crown jewelry heist. 2 men were arrested last Sunday in connection with the theft in crown jewels from the Louvre. The arrests come over a week after the initial heist. A Peirce prosecutor says the arrests were made last Saturday evening. One man was taken into custody as he attempted to flee the country. A police official working the case confirmed that one suspect was identified through DNA traces found at the scene. It is unclear whether any of the stolen jewels have been recovered. The two suspects are currently being held in custody amid the ongoing investigation.
The date Sean Diddy Combs is set to be released from prison has been announced. 3 weeks ago, he was sentenced to 50 months. The exact date has been revealed as of Monday. According to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, Combs is set to be released May 8, 2028. Despite Combs' partial conviction, he was acquitted of the charges carrying most of the prison time. If convicted of sex trafficking and racketeering, Combs could have been sentenced to 20 years behind bars. Instead, he has received just over 4, including the year he has spent in a federal center in Brooklyn after his arrest last September. Combs has already stated that he will appeal his conviction and sentence. A star of the first Terrifier movie is suing producers over accusations of fraud and sexual harassment. Katherine Corcoran played Dawn Emerson in the first installment of the majorly successful horror franchise Terrifier. The lawsuit was filed on Sunday. It alleges that Corcoran has not been paid the amount agreed upon in her contract since the success of the second and third Terrifier movies. The lawsuit also documents several examples of poor working conditions and violations to Corcoran's contract. The actress alleges the producer failed to get her written consent before filming and photographing several nude scenes. Corcoran is looking for the full accounting of the film's earnings to determine the numbers she will ask for in restitution.
That's all for this week, Jays. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at ECTV40 for all the latest updates on our shows. I'm Gabriella Schill.
And I'm Gabbie Hansen. Have a great week, and remember to
Take flight, Etown.